I suppose I would be doing a disservice to this channel if I didn't lead off this video by recapping the very end of the most recent Bills game, 34-31 loss to the Titans on Monday Night Football in Nashville. You know all of that by now. You know the situation as well. 4th and 1 for the Bills from the Titans' 3-yard line. 22 seconds to go. Josh Allen tries to sneak up the middle to the left a little bit, and the play is just completely blown up by Jeffrey Simmons. And Allen falls, kind of slips maybe a little bit. Maybe that's a result of the Simmons push. Dawkins kind of falling. Maybe Allen just kind of slips on himself. Whatever. Whatever you want to blame it on specifically, what happened happened, and the Bills ultimately lost the game on that play. Everything that happened leading up into that point is really just inconsequential at that point. It doesn't matter that you are just dominating them in terms of yardage, in terms of first downs, in terms of time of possession, anything like that. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters but that play right there, and the Titans won that play, thus winning the game. You know, Josh Allen threw for 353 yards, 3 touchdowns, and Ryan Tannehill threw for like 216, and none. You know, you look at those numbers at the end of the game, you're like, okay, how much did the Bills win by? You know, they didn't. They lost by 3 due to a couple of mistakes early on in the game, allowing Derrick Henry to get off for a 76-yard touchdown. You want to say there was, holding on to Jordan Poyer on that play? I would totally agree with you, but it's not called. This is where the element of luck comes into it once again, okay? I don't mean to harp on this like week after week or multiple times per season, but that is where luck comes into play. The flag's not thrown. That's out of your control. The Titans score a touchdown. Okay? A tipped interception. Not a little fluky, not necessarily as lucky, but a tipped interception leads to 7 points for the Titans. Like, the Bills are up 3 at halftime, 20-17, and really they could be up like 28-7. But they're not because of compounding mistakes and a little bit of bad luck. That's what can happen. The Bills were the better team in the first half. They were the better team throughout the entire game. But there they are at the end of the game, needing 1 yard for a first down to not necessarily win the game. They need a touchdown ultimately to win the game, and that's why I think you go for it. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But they need that yard to continue that drive in order to continue the game, to have a chance to win the game. All right. Now, some of you might say, I don't think this is a widely thought of a wide opinion. However you want to say that. I don't think a lot of Bills fans think this way, but there certainly are some that believe they should have kicked the field goal and tied it up and took their chances in overtime. And you can miss me with that take all day. Okay, all day, miss me left and right, front and center, whatever, front and back. No, I don't want to hear that. This is just what you do. It's 4th and 1 at the 3, and you have the ball needing a touchdown to win the game, and that's what you do. You need probably a touchdown to win the game regardless. You're going to in overtime, I mean. Let's just say you kick the field goal. Now you're leaving it up to a coin toss. You could lose the coin toss. You could win the coin toss and drive down the field and score a touchdown. You could. But that drive probably starts at your own 25. Why not just try for a touchdown from the 3? You have the ball now on the 3. Just try now. You could lose the coin toss. You could give Tennessee the ball. You haven't stopped Tennessee in the entire second half. They had 3 drives for 17 points. 2 touchdowns and a field goal. A.J. Brown running that post over the middle, just behind the linebackers, in front of the safeties. The play works every time. Okay, I don't want to say I watch a bunch of Titans games, but I do like to watch the Titans because Derrick Henry is phenomenal. I don't like the Titans, really. I don't like them, okay? But I like watching them because they're fun to watch. Derrick Henry is phenomenal and a Hall of Fame player, and A.J. Brown is... A.J. Brown I do like. It might actually be my favorite player in the NFL that is not on the Bills. The guy is... he looks like he was chiseled out of stone, just a physically imposing freak at the wide receiver position. Everything... Every time he runs that in route across the middle, they love the play action to Henry. Keep the linebackers up, because that's the natural reaction. Got to stay up in case Henry gets the ball. By the time you react to the play action, A.J. Brown's already behind you. And the Bills, I'm sure, got caught with it. I didn't, see it. I was at the game. I was at the game, okay? So, I mean, I was noticing that Brown was open, even wide open at times, I dare say, across the middle, behind the linebackers in front of the safeties. Whether that was caused by play action, I'm really not sure off the top of my head. I just assumed that is the way it worked out, honestly. Like, I've seen that work out for them before. He is one of the best at catching and just turning upfield. And he had no catches in the first half. And Tennessee was still only down 3 points, but he goes for 7 for 91 in the second half, and ultimately, leads to the Bills' downfall. Where the Titans' downfall was, and I do want to get back to the field goal thing, I think, in a second here, because the Titans kicked a field goal in the fourth quarter that I don't think they should have kicked. They had 4th and 5 at the Bills' 20-yard line, down 7. And they kick a field goal to make it 31-27. And I basically said, hey, thank you. I don't think this is the right move here. I know you have almost 10 minutes left in the game, but you haven't shown that you can stop the Bills. But what did they go do on their next defensive possession? They stopped the Bills. And I feel like that has been a downfall at times for the Bills. Okay, like this has been, they haven't lost too many games over the past couple of seasons, but this has been an area where they can improve. Maybe that has led to a couple of losses. A team does them a favor, such as like kicking a field goal, and the Bills are up 4 or up a score here and there, and they get the ball back in the fourth quarter, and this team hasn't stopped them. So why are they stopping you now? Jeffrey Simmons comes through. The Bills were able to manage 1 first down on the ensuing drive, and Jeffrey Simmons comes in on first down, and and gets a sack, and then it's 2nd and 17 and 3rd and 17, and Allen missed Kumaro on the right sideline, and he had a first down. It's like, this is an area where the Bills could have gone down the field, made it an 11-point game potentially, and they would have really made it hard pressed for the Titans to come back from 11. Like, they would have probably needed a touchdown to use their timeouts on defense, get it back, maybe kick a field goal, such as the manner and almost the way the Bills did. That's an area I would like to see them improve. But, getting back to the kicking the field goal and going for it thing, like I said, going for it is just what you do. Your biggest gripe for 59 minutes of the game has been that they've kicked field goals. They kicked 2 field goals on on 2 of their first 3 possessions to kick field goals, and it's 6-0. So what does happen is they kick off, first play, Derrick Henry, 76-yard touchdown. And in the blink of an eye, you're losing. Like, you've pretty much dominated this entire game, but you've kicked 2 field goals under 30 yards, and you're still only up by 1 score, and then suddenly you're losing. Okay, so why kick the field goal there? I know you might be like, Greg, well, you needed it there, you need to go to overtime, and, they're not going to stop you. Like, I've made my case. If you disagree with it, let's talk about it, honestly. Like, let's talk about it. Explain to me why you would have kicked a field goal. I don't think you're going to be able to convince me. I don't, it's just not, I'm not in the mood to hear that. I know analytics has really taken off this year especially. I don't think that is analytics. That to me is just common sense. That's just what you do there. Anyway, the Bills go into the bye week on a heartbreaking loss again for the 2nd year in a row. It seems like an annual thing. It might not be, but for the last 2 years it has been. The Hail Murray in Arizona, and the Bills fell to like 7-2 that day or something, or 7-3, and they finished 13-3, just beating the crap out of their next 6 opponents. And now the Bills are 4-2. They have a very good look at 7-2. Okay, like Kyle Brandt of NFL Network tweeted, the Bills have a bye month. They have the bye week followed by Miami at home, Jacksonville, and the Jets. And that might be accurate. Those are 3 games the Bills are probably going to be double-digit favorites in. I expect them to win all 3. I expect them to be 7-2 a couple weeks from now. We'll talk about Miami in just a little bit here. But, over the bye week, things kind of went the Bills' way. I think the one thing that didn't go your way is you would have liked to see Kansas City beat Tennessee, because now Tennessee has the tiebreaker over you, and you have the tiebreaker over Kansas City. So Kansas City falling to 3-4, they're 1-4 in the conference. That's crazy. Like, they might actually be legitimately bad. But Tennessee goes to 5-2. The Raiders are 5-2. Not so sure I really buy into them. Still, I think there might be a little bit of a mirage. They've been very good on offense, and I've been impressed by them at points. But they beat Philly, they beat Denver, they beat Miami. They lost to Chicago. And Chicago is just one of the most putrid teams to watch in the entire league. If you don't have red zone or anything like that, or the ticket, or the Sunday ticket, and you were forced to watch Chicago or Tampa on Sunday, I apologize. That is brutal. And you know what's opposite the Bills game on Sunday? Granted, most of you are just going to be watching the Bills game straight through, but it's Niners and Bears. Just terrible. Anyway, back to the AFC. So the Titans are 5-2. The Raiders are 5-2. The Bengals beat the Ravens. So that brings everybody. There's no one-loss teams. Everybody in the AFC, the best team has 2 losses, but it is muddled. It is the Bills with 2 losses, the Bengals, the Ravens, the Titans, the Raiders, the Chargers. There's 7 playoff teams, you know, at the end of the season. 6 teams in the AFC right now have 2 losses. So, you know, the Bills have obviously the inside track at the division. You know, the Bengals and Ravens are going to battle back and forth. The Titans definitely have an inside track at the division. And the Raiders and Chargers, I think the Chargers will separate themselves from the Raiders. And, I mean, Kansas City still has 10 games left. So it's hard to really say, to rule them out, right? They've been turning the ball over like crazy, and that just feels a little bit more correctable than like not moving the ball and not scoring. And they are moving the ball and scoring. Like, they're the only team that has had more than like 16 first downs, I think, against the Bills. Let me look at that. I actually have that right here. Yeah, the Bills have allowed 16 or fewer first downs. 16 or fewer first downs in 5 out of 6 games. The only team to have more was Kansas City. They had 29. A lot of those were probably later in the game. The Bills won comfortably by 18 points, but you know, that's neither here nor there at this point. Let's talk a little bit about Miami. Miami, obviously in the news the past couple of weeks with the trade deadline approaching, to be trading for Deshaun Watson. If I had to bet, I would say that Deshaun Watson's next snap is played with the Miami Dolphins, but that, I mean, Bills fans seem like they might want to be a little bit concerned about that. I don't really care. I mean, this is what teams do when they're trying to catch up to you. They want to be good as well. We have just been doing that for years. You know, you can't really worry about the other team being good. I mean, I know you got to play them twice a year, and Watson is a phenomenal talent, might be suspended, you know, might go to jail even. I have no idea how that's going to play out. And I'm sure the Dolphins are waiting for some sort of clarity on that situation. But the Bills are good. So as long as the Bills are good, they're going to be in the mix, probably the favorite for the division for years to come. So that's where I am with that situation. Miami coming off their 6th consecutive loss to Atlanta last week. You know, people are wanting to say like, well, Tua's been playing well lately. Yeah, I think context is necessary. Sure he has. You know, they have, let me see, let me pull up his game logs really quick. But context is necessary, like I said. They have played Jacksonville. They're the first team to get beat by Jacksonville in a year and in 6 weeks or something like that. You know, 20 games. They're the first team to get beat by Jacksonville. Okay? Then they lose, you know, at home to Atlanta, who is pretty poor on defense. But okay, Tua's played good the last couple games. Sure. 291, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks against Atlanta. 329, 2 touchdowns and a pick against Jacksonville. But they're both losses. You know, I thought defense was supposed to be the strength of Miami's game, and it really has not been. They are terrible especially on third downs and getting off the field. They're like second last in points allowed, dead last, I believe, in total yards allowed. They can't stop the pass, even though they have Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, like I kind of just said. They're middle of the pack against the run. The Bills beat them 35-0 in Miami in week 2. I mean, and the Bills are like 13.5-point favorites this week. I mean, maybe Tua finishes the whole game this time. I'm just, you know, I don't want to say the Bills are totally on cruise control here. Obviously, the game starts 0-0, but this is a game I think the Bills win, you know, 9.5 times out of 10, 95 times out of 100. The Bills are just far more talented. There's some injury concerns on Miami. They haven't been able to keep Will Fuller, Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle all on the field at the same time. They haven't played them on the field at the same time at all, actually. This is a team that is kind of just crumbling, and I really feel for Flores a little bit. I think Flores is actually a pretty good coach, but this is tough. I mean, they have given up the last couple weeks with total yards: 397, 396, 558 to Tampa Bay, 349, 397. The Bills put up the fewest, 314. That is the fewest, and they won by 35. So I expect the Bills pretty much to roll. I think Tua might be able to move the ball a little bit on the Bills, but I don't think it's going to be super competitive in the fourth quarter. I'm going to pick the Bills to beat Miami 34-17. Sure, 34-17 at home. I guess the one thing I would like to see improvement from the Bills is the field goal kicking, really. Tyler Bass last year in 16 games attempted, I think it was like 8 field goals from inside 30 yards. Last year, 9. He was 9 for 9 on 20 or 9 or 10 for 10. Sorry, 10 for 10 on field goals from 19 to 29 yards. He's already got 8 this year, so that's like a little bit more than 1 every other week last year. This year he's got more than 1 a week, like 1 1/4 per week or 1 1/3 per week, 1 1/4, whatever the math works out to. So that is something that I don't know why the Bills have been a little bit, I don't want to say regressed, but they're a little bit more strange in the red zone this year. I think the one, to kind of cap this entire thing off, the one thing I would maybe change at the end of the Titans game is that maybe you just try for the end zone. Too often in this league, like, the coaches act like, oh, it's 4th and 1, so all we can do is gain 1 yard. No, you have Josh Allen, who was like 29 of 31 in his career in that situation, so the odds are with you. But you don't have to just gain 1 yard. Allen has been your best player in this situation since he's come into the league. Not with necessarily sneaks, with read options and draw plays and stuff like that. So maybe just try one of those. Maybe just you could just try to gain the 3 yards instead of just getting the 1, calling the timeout, and then trying again. It's really just my thought with that. I'll leave you guys with that. That's my closing thought. Guys, hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle and YouTube username are the same. Enjoy your weekend. As always, above all else, go Bills.